Hello YouTube, it's Emma Blue Eyes 10 here with a deck video, and I'm sure you guys have been waiting for this for a long time, and of course it is the Blue Eyes Dragons. Yep, finally I've got a build that I'm very happy with, I'm very comfortable with, and I hope you guys like as well. It's taken a lot of practice and a lot of testing with this deck to get it where I want it to be, because there was loads of ideas going round and everything, and some were working, some weren't, but I finally managed to get a build that I'm quite happy with. Also, for the first time ever, I have gone over my 40 card limit, because to encompass all the cards that I felt would work for the deck and make it consistent and make it work right, I needed to go over the 40 card limit. But in the future, of course, if I need to take anything out or swap anything out, then obviously I will do that, but I think 42 is okay for the moment. Anyway, got Celine here, since she hasn't been in my videos for quite a long time, and since it's this Blue Eyes Dragons deck with cards from the new BEWD Structure deck that you guys have all been waiting for, I felt she had to be in the video, because it is a special one. So I hope you guys enjoy, and let's get on with the deck review. So here we go. Start off with, of course, the Blue Eyes Shining White Dragon, my absolute favourite card in the entire game. A no-me monster for the Blue Eyes. She gains 300 attack for every dragon that's in my graveyard, and she's also immune to targeting effects. However, as a no-me monster, she can only be special summoned by tributing a Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon that I control. Next, of course, this is a Blue Eyes deck. There should be at least three Blue Eyes in the deck as well. Some people have been asking me, why do I keep calling the Blue Eyes female? Well, the reason is, she came from a female character in the anime and manga. Kasara was a female spirit, and the Blue Eyes White Dragon was her Ka, or her spirit monster. And it would be odd if it was a male spirit inside a female body, if you understand what I mean. So that's why I call her female, because the Blue Eyes originally came from a girl. So I hope that answers your question, guys. Next we have 3 White Stones of Legend, which are just baby Blue Eyes White Dragons basically. When it's sent to the graveyard, it allows me to add a Blue Eyes White Dragon to my hand. It's also a level 1 tuner as well, which is quite good for future. Next we have 3 Maidens with Eyes of Blue, or I'm just going to call her Blue Eyes Maiden because you guys know what I'm talking about. A level 1 light type spellcaster monster, 0 attack, 0 defense. She's also a tuner as well. When this card is targeted for an attack, you can negate the attack, and if you do, change the battle position of this card. Then you can special summon 1 Blue Eyes White Dragon from your hand, deck or graveyard. During either player's turn, when a card or effect is activated that targets this face-up card except during the damage step, you can special summon 1 Blue Eyes White Dragon from your hand, deck or graveyard. You can only use 1 Maiden with Eyes of Blue effect per turn, and only once that turn. So basically, try to attack her, I get a free Blue Eyes. Try to target her with a card or an effect, I get a free Blue Eyes. However, she's not too OP because you can only use her once that turn and only use 1 Maiden. So you can't summon 2 Maiden and use their effect twice. It just won't work because that would make this card just far too powerful, unfortunately. But she's just good at stalling the opponent because I said, you can't attack her because I get free Blue Eyes, and with a lot of cards that do target, except for things like Dark Hole and Trench of Tribute and all that, most people wouldn't target her with a card anyway, because who wants a 3000 attack beatstick on the field basically? Well, I do of course, but not the opponent. Next we have 2 Alexandrite Dragon, which is a 2000 attack beatstick. Next we have 3 Bright Star Dragon, a level 4 light type dragon type monster with 19 attack and 1000 defense. When this card is normal summoned, you can target 1 face up monster on the field except this card. Increase that target's level by 2 until the end phase. Now this was a card I looked over and I was thinking, you know what, it targets Maiden, so I could probably use it and synchro into, use it and get out of Blue Eyes and everything, but what could I synchro into now that it's not level 1? And I was thinking about it really hard, and it wasn't coming to me until I watched a video by Pro Winston, who built a Blue Eyes deck using Bright Star Dragon, and he showed how you can get into level 7s like Black Rose Dragon and Ancient Sacred Wyvern quite easily, and also Star Eater as well. And that's when it hit me that Bright Star could be very useful in the deck, because target Maiden, I get a free Blue Eyes, Maiden becomes level 3, and then a level 3 plus a level 8 equals a level 11 Star Eater, which is like a really badass card to have at this point in time. And also, because it's a light type 19 attack beat stick, it can be used with other cards such as Honest and everything as well. Sad thing is, it can't use its effect on itself, but I suppose that would make it a wee bit too OP, especially in this age of where syncoing and XYZing or exceed summoning is the norm. Then we have 2 Exploder Dragon, just as a nasty little surprise for the opponent to blow up their monsters. Then we have 1 Honest, since pretty much 90% of the monsters in the deck are light type anyway. Then we have 3 Effect Veiler to control the opponent's field, stop their effects going off and everything. Then we have 1 Dragon's Mirror, which is my main way of fusion summoning into Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. Because, as I said before in previous videos, polymerization, it just wasn't happening since Blue Eyes wasn't staying in my hand or on the field long enough for me to use it. But with Dragon's Mirror, it can be used on the field or via the graveyard, and since Maiden can summon from pretty much everywhere, this card is it is a bit quicker using with the Dragon's Mirror now as well. Next we have 1 for 1. Send 1 monster card from your hand to the graveyard and special summon 1 level 1 monster from your hand or deck. So, main target will be of course the Blue Eyes Maiden to summon it out really quickly. It can also be used with Whitestone of Legend if I need to use its synchro abilities, or its tuner abilities I should say. It can also be used with Effect Veiler if I need to synchro with it or for another combo, which I'll show you guys in a little while. In all honesty, I wouldn't be surprised if that card gets hit by next ban list, just because not only is it very good in Blue Eyes decks, it's been utilised in some Prophecy decks and some Dragon Ruler decks as well. There could be other decks it's been utilised in, but I'm not entirely sure what they are, but I definitely know for Blue Eyes it's a very, very good card. Staples now, we have Dark Hole, and then we have Book of Moon. Then we have 2 Mystical Space Typhoon. I think 3 is too cloggy for the moment. Then I've got 3 Forbidden Lance. Blue Eyes is a 3000 attack beat stick, but it is highly vulnerable to a lot of spell and trap cards that are out there nowadays. So this card is brilliant for protecting the Blue Eyes, even though it loses 800 attack. It's also very good with Maiden, because Maiden's got 0 attack anyway, and as long as you don't use this in the damage step, Maiden's effect will go off to special summon a Blue Eyes. There's been a couple of combos where, say for example, the opponents either tried to play Dark Hole or a Trencher Tribute on my Maiden. I chain Forbidden Lance, which means I special summon Blue Eyes. Blue Eyes gets destroyed by the spell or trap card, but Maiden stays, which is okay to some extent, but if the opponent is able to, like, say, summon a monster, then of course Maiden's effect won't go off again, sadly, but it means in a way I get a Blue Eyes out. It may go to the graveyard with the effect of that card or something, but I've got a Blue Eyes in the graveyard ready to come back and kick some butt if I get another Maiden out or if I get any other cards out, such as Silver's Cry. Now Silver's Cry is basically a quick play monster born for normal dragon type monsters, and it's got, I think, some of the most amazing artwork I have ever seen. Target 1 dragon type normal monster in your graveyard, special summon that target. You can only activate 1 Silver's Cry per turn. So because it's a quick play, it means it can be set and you can play it during the opponent's turn. You can play it quickly to like stop attacks and everything going off, or there's just loads of combos you can do with this card. Some people might say 3 is a bit much, but I think 3 is really good, just because, well, it's 3 Blue Eyes, it's 1 for each Blue Eyes, you could say. And it was a much needed card like the Blue Eyes Maiden for the deck, just because before these kind of cards came out, the only way Blue Eyes could be summoned was pretty much from the hand or the deck via Kaibaman or Paladin of White Dragon or Ancient Rules, but and there were like general cards to summon it back from the graveyard, such as Call of the Haunted and Monster Born. But the thing is, if those cards got negated, say if Call of the Haunted got stopped by MST and Kaibaman got stopped by an Effect Bearer and all that, you were pretty much in trouble and you couldn't get your Blue Eyes out. But with Maiden and Silver's Cry especially, it makes it so much easier and so much quicker to get the cards out, and I'm just so happy that they've come out. So it makes the Blue Eyes deck so much quicker and so much more fun, to be honest. Next we have 2 Cards of Consonance. Now mind you, I've only got 3 Whitestone of Legend, but I think 2 is more than adequate, just because it's really good draw power, and most of the time the white stone stays in the hand. It rarely goes out onto the field unless I absolutely need to put it on the field. And when, of course, when white stone is discarded, I add a Blue Eyes White Dragon to my hand, which then sets it up for 2 trade-in, which discard a level 8, draw 2 cards. Since I've got Silver's Crying Maiden now, I'm not afraid to use this Egg Turbo engine now. Of course, I'm not using 3 and 3 because that would just make the deck too inconsistent, I feel. So 2 and 2 is more than adequate, I think, because it gets through the deck relatively quickly, but it doesn't like clog up the hand or anything too much, I believe. Next, we also have 2 Wonder Wand. Equip only to a spellcaster type monster, it gains 500 attack. If you control the equipped monster and this card, you can send both to the graveyard, draw 2 cards. So main target would be Maiden, because Maiden is a spellcaster, so its effect would go off to special summon Blue Eyes. And then I could do 2 options. I could either synchro with Maiden if I wanted to, or I could tribute for 2 cards if needed. It can also be used in desperate circumstances on Effect Veiler, since Effect Veiler is a spellcaster as well, because there has been a few times where I've had to summon Effect Veiler, use Wonder Wand, draw my 2 cards, and those draws have, most of the time, saved me. So it's quite a good little card when it's used correctly. Next we have 2 Mirror Force, because it's 2 Mirror Force. You know, if the opponent overextends and tries to wipe you out in the battle phase, Mirror Force can pretty much turn that whole situation around. Next we have 1 Beckoning Light. Discard your entire hand, and then for each card you discarded to the graveyard by this effect, add 1 light monster from your graveyard to your hand. And since, as I said before, that the monsters in the deck, 90% of them are light type, I would have been crazy not to have added this. It means I could reuse Maiden if they're all in the graveyard, I could reuse Blue Eyes for combos or White Stones for combos, reuse Bright Star Dragon for synchro and Exceed effects, reuse Effect Veiler if I need to, etc, etc. So that's that deck list there at 42 cards, and if I need to slim it down in the future, then I will, but other than that, that's the main build and I'm pretty happy with it. For the extra deck now, we have, of course, 1 Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon as a 45 attack beat stick for the Blue Eyes, and it's also tribute fodder for the Blue Eyes Shining Dragon. I have been dithering whether or not to add in another one, but I don't think I need to at this current time. Next we have 3 Azure-Eyed Silver Dragon, a level 9 Synchro Dragon monster. 1 tuner and 1 or more non-tuner normal monsters. When this card is special summoned, dragon type monsters you currently control cannot be targeted or destroyed by card effects until the end of the next turn. Once per turn, during your standby phase, you can target 1 normal monster in the graveyard and special summon that target. So take note, when this card is special summoned, when it's synchro summoned, when it's summoned out by Monster Born, Call of the Haunted, etc, etc, all dragon type monsters you currently control are protected from most effects and that, and can't be destroyed. So if, say for example, your opponent tries to play Dark Hole, it wouldn't work because Azure-Eyed would protect it and everything. Also, the ability to special summon a normal monster in the graveyard, of course that mainly targets with the Blue Eyes White Dragon. I heard rumours that instead of the standby phase it was going to be during the main phase or something, which means that if it was during the main phase it would make it too OP, I think, just because it's well, during the main phase you can do lots of things, whereas during the standby phase you can only do certain actions, I suppose. So it's kind of slows down the power of this card, but it's still a very good card for Blue Eyes because it protects them and it can special summon them to an extent as well. Then we have 1 Ancient Sacred Wyvern, which sadly could have been a dragon, but it's not, because understandably with its effect it would be far too OP, especially with things like Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon still running around out there. It's 1 light tuner plus 1 or more non-tuner monsters. While your life points are higher than your opponent's, this card gains attack equal to the difference. And when your life points are lower than the opponent's, this card loses attack equal to the difference. When this card is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, you can pay 1,000 life points to special summon this card. So basically, to an extent, sort of indestructible by battle, but also really good for running over the opponent. If your life points are higher, of course, in order to get rid of pesky monsters, or even just getting game, basically. Then we have 2 Black Rose Dragon. As I said, I don't really need to explain how she works, she just blows up the field when she's summoned. Then we have 1 Star Eater. As I said, with the Bright Star Dragons effect being used on Maiden especially, it means that I can get into this quite easily with a Blue Eyes and a Maiden card, or just any level 1 tuner in the deck that gets boosted by Bright Star's effect, and I happen to have a Blue Eyes either out in the field somewhere. Makes it easy to get into Star Eater now. It's just basically one of those cards where when it's summoned, when it attacks and everything, you know, you can't do anything. It can only be synchro summoned though, and it can't be special summoned by other ways, so if it goes to the graveyard, you can't Monster Born it or anything like that. I know I'm referring to Monster Born a lot in this video, and I know it's banned, but I suppose it's just to give you a perspective of what I mean. Yeah, when synchro summoned, cards and effects cannot be activated. If this card attacks, it's unaffected by other card effects until the end of the damage step, so it's a pretty good card, I won't lie. For Exceeds now, we have number 39 Utopia. I've always liked this card, but with previous dragon builds, of course, with Totem, I couldn't use it, but now I can, and it's just really good for stopping effects and attacks and that, sorry. 1 Hieratic Dragon of Heliopolis, Sun Dragon Overlord of Heliopolis, I should say. Very good for Singularity Destruction. I might consider running a second one if I can get one. And then we have 2 number 107 Galaxy Eyes Tachyon Dragon, which is basically a mini skill drain in the battle phase, and if any effects are negated via Tachyon's effect, it gains 1000 attack and gets to attack again. So it's like a multiple attacker as well if those effects go off successfully. Another card that I do plan to add to the deck, which will hopefully be out very soon, is number 46 Ethereal Dragon Dragloon, which is sort of like a Red Eyes Darkness Metal effect to an extent in a way, but it's a really cool card. I really like it, and I do plan to get 1 or 2 of those for the extra deck as well when I get a chance. But anyway, that's it for this deck, guys. I hope you really enjoyed. As I said, it's taken a lot of time to get this build right and to the way I want it. I've been testing it out quite a bit, and I'm really happy with it, and I'm really comfortable with it. So there it is. There is the Blue Eyes Dragons with the Maiden build, as it were. I hope you enjoyed. So from me and the Blue Eyes Shining Dragon, we'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!